Radhe Radhe. Today is Saturday, 14th September 2024. Here we are to present you this recap video for today's Bhagavad Gita study session, getting towards the end of chapter 9. Along with me, here is Mummy.
Radhe Radhe.
So bring up the screen and you'll see that we covered chapter 9 verses 30 and 31. Of course, our recap quiz at the beginning covered last week's content. So that was for chapter 9 verses 28 and 29. Please do take a look at the questions and you can access them via the link provided in the description to this video. Join that free portal and access all these slides, other relevant reference material as well, all for your review purposes. So with that, we shall now start off with chapter 9, verse 30.
Api chetsu duracharo bhajate mam ananne bhak sadhur eva samantavyah samyag vyavasito hi saha.
Chapter 9, verse 30 has the catchphrase with a little bit of alliteration as virtue of the vilest. It often might catch someone new or seeing the verse for the first time by, off guard, because you might think it's a little shocking. But indeed, in Sri Krishna's own words, he says that even if the vilest sinners, the worst, the evil ones, can worship him and with exclusive devotion, then they are to be considered righteous. And Sri Krishna explains why so succinctly, and that is because those people have made the proper resolve. In the commentary, as we discussed in class as well, Swamiji gives us the story of Valmiki, and he also mentions Ajamil. We talked about those in the class, the essence being that, let's say in Ajamil's case, when it was the time of his death, with decades of accumulated sin, he called out the name of his 10th son, the youngest one. And the son's name was Narayan. So look at his grace and bliss bestowed upon him. He meant and he intended to call out to his son, but because that was and is the Lord's name, the messengers of Vishnu took him to Vaikunth versus having the messengers of death take him elsewhere. Valmiki's story, many of you are, of course, familiar with, and indeed we know that he was a robber and he also, robbed from sages. He struggled to even say the Lord's name, such as Rama, but innovatively, someone gave him guidance that instead say death, death, death in terms of Mara, 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 and just keep on saying that. And indeed, if you chant that, keep on going, you'll actually be saying Rama, Rama, Rama nonstop. So just a very, very unique way to invoke the name of the Lord. And of course, Valmiki then, known as the Adi Kavi, the first poet, epic writer for the Ramayana, that of course got him into exclusive devotion, Ananya Bhakti, that transformed him into a legendary saint. The point here is that whatever these examples are, there will be many more as well. Sri Krishna himself says, you can have sin, you can be the vilest of people, but if you make that resolve, here's that word to remind us for our English dictionaries. If you make that resolve, you have that determination, the intention, the steadfastness of purpose to channel everything in the direction of Sri Krishna, then you are to be considered righteous. And Sri Krishna, of course, takes care of such people as well. They worship him with exclusive devotion. They are to be considered righteous. We'll see more, of course, in the next verse. But here, indeed, there is justification Sri Krishna provides. They make that resolve. They are to be considered righteous. Next up, we'll see chapter 9, verse 31.
Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvachantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktah pranashyati.
Chapter 9, verse 31. Again, alliteration, but a question for the catchphrase, and it is devotee's declaration. As we saw in class, and you're seeing here as well, this is, of course, a declaration that is from Sri Krishna. We'll see that momentarily. But he lets Arjun actually state it. So something for all of us to ponder. Devotee's declaration. And what is that declaration? Well, Sri Krishna says that boldly Arjun can say that no devotee of Sri Krishna is ever lost. No devotee of his shall perish. First up, we'll remind you all of the flyer, which describes that as best as possible here. So be bold and say it. Which special people are far from the keyword your eyes are drawn to? Hopefully, your eyes were drawn to the big word lost here in large size, and you can see there are no devotees shown on this thing. That is the answer. Special people are Sri Krishna's devotees. They are far from lost in the sense that opposite of that, right? So they are not lost, they do not perish. Here, physically, you don't see them because, again, they are far physically from being lost. Sri Krishna takes care of all these devotees. In this verse, Swamiji helps us understand, of course, the importance of channeling our minds and hearts in the direction of God, because divine virtues emanate from, they come from God Himself, such as truth, compassion, love, mercy, etc. All that, if we can then focus our minds and hearts on God, will help us also develop through purification and God's grace some of those virtues. So that is why exclusive devotion to Sri Krishna is extremely important. And so, chapter 9, verse 31, building from the prior one, even for the vilest sinners, Sri Krishna says that they can quickly become virtuous and they can attain lasting peace. Therefore, he lets Arjun boldly make the declaration that no devotee of his is ever lost. We do have a nice verse, an example from Maharajji, that's from the Bhakti Shatak. And then again, what Swamiji stresses is that Sri Krishna isn't saying that the Jnani, the Jnani, the person of knowledge, or the Karmi, the performer of rituals, are the ones that do not perish or are not lost. He's talking about the bhaktas, devotees of Sri Krishna. And as we saw, a reminder to chapter 9, verse 22, that's the one about Yogakshem. Sri Krishna protects what we have, preserves what we have, and provides what we lack. He takes on that burden of maintaining us. He takes care of us. So that is, again, through our exclusive devotion to Him. Finally, Swamiji does talk about this lovely episode of Bhishma and Krishna in the Mahabharata war, where Sri Krishna broke his vow, lifted that chariot wheel to protect and preserve Bhishma's vow. So you can read about that over here. And again, as Mummy told us in class, it's really important here that Arjun gets to state that declaration because Sri Krishna is protecting the vow that a devotee makes. He's always taking care of his devotees. For this Bhishma episode, we also mentioned to you that you can take note of chapter 2, verse 6, way back, much earlier in the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 2, verse 6, in the commentary, Swamiji has described at length a little bit about Bhishma being one of the 12 Mahajans, and then this episode again that we described from the Mahabharata Kurukshetra war, and Bhishma also then meditating as he lay on his deathbed later on that divine imagery of Sri Krishna, helping to not break Bhishma's own vow. With that, I'll pass it over to Mummy to enlighten us on any important Sanskrit words and other takeaways.
Thank you, Gagan. And beautiful verses. Krishna is giving us short formulas here, what to do in life. And what I noticed that he's taking us towards bhakti. He's telling us that bhakti is the one which can take even the vilest sinners to become virtuous and righteous if they take a firm resolve, if their intention and determination is to pray to God with loving devotion, then Sri Krishna will take the burden. He takes care of the devotees. He says his devotees will never be lost. And he takes care of the devotees by providing them what they lack and by preserving them, by preserving what they have. So for us also it's easy. Let's be surrendered. Let's be in Sharanagati to Sri Krishna. Have that loving devotion, exclusive devotion, whereby He will take care of everything. So let's learn this word from verse number 30. Ananya Bhak. Ananya Bhak means exclusive devotion. In verse number 30, also, when Krishna is explaining that once we make a proper resolve, then even a sinner can become righteous. So he gives Swamiji has given us an example from Ramayana. How he talks about that due to Ananya Bhakti, even a sinner was transformed into a legendary saint. So the example from Ramayana given is उल्टा नाम जपत जगु जाना बाल्मीकि भय ब्रह्म समाना. Ulta naam japatu jana. He was practicing the God's name in reverse. Mara, 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 mara. And it became Ram, 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 Ram. And then he was transformed into a great saint. Now let's see verse number 31. The word we will see Shashwat Shanti. Shashwat means eternal and Shanti means peace. This is what we are all looking for all the time, right? So how do we get that? Okay. How do we get that eternal peace, that Shashwat Shanti? When we are not lost, when we are connected with God, right? And how do we be connected with God? Krishna is saying that he will take care of us, na? He will take care of us, we are his tiny parts and we are always drawn to godly qualities. So let's learn to do Roop Dhyan, those meditations. Gagan, can I see the next page? And with that, purification will happen and we will be able to, uh, develop those good qualities which are there in God, truthfulness, non-violence, virtuous qualities will be acquired by having that devotion to God. And of course, a jnani will also reach God and a karmi will also reach God. But in this verse, Krishna is emphatically talking about the bhakta, the devotee. He's giving a guarantee that they will never come to ruin because God will carry the burden of maintaining them. Maintaining means preserving what they have and providing what they lack. And in the commentary, Swamiji has given us this beautiful story from Mahabharat war, whereby Krishna, he will break his own vow, but he will never let a devotee's vow to be broken. That is why he has asked here Arjun to declare that Krishna's devotee will never perish, and he gives guarantee for this. In this verse number 31 also, Swamiji has given from Bhakti Shatak, to prove this, that oil stains on a cloth cannot be removed by water, right? So similarly, the mind is purified and it cannot be purified without attaching the mind to the all pure God. That is, so the Bhakti Shatak verse which Swamiji has given, it goes like this. Satya ahimsa adi mana bin hari bhajan na paay jalte grihata जलते घृत निकले नहीं कोटिन करिय उपाय सियावर राम जय जय राम. That reminds me of Ramayana. सत्य अहिंसा आदि मन बिन हरि भजन न पाय जलते घृत निकले नहीं कोटिन करी उपाय. So that means we can become virtuous only when we attach our mind to God and our vessel will be purified and we will have the seed of love, devotion, and surrender. Over to you, Gagan.
Yeah, thank you, Mommy. So that gets us towards the end of the summary for chapter 9, verses 30 and 31. Of course, quick reminder as well, we had also, Mommy, especially last week, if you recall, for Ganesh Chaturthi, had given homework. So again, thank you to Chanduji for taking that up in terms of her research and exploration, looked at it and responded in class. We still encourage you, Mommy again said, take it as homework if you like, and just explore again that story between Vyas and Ganeshji, the conditions they had or the deal they had, and of course, how the context of the tusk comes about, Ganeshji's tusk. And the big, of course, takeaways from there about what moral lessons we all can benefit from.
But today's verses, there is more homework. You have to look around, look about the story of Ajamil. You have to look about the story of Valmiki. And then you have to look about the story of Mahabharat war. Why did Krishna pick up that wheel? Right? So keep on researching and keep on learning. And through these stories, Swamiji is explaining these verses, whereby we can then digest them better. Over to you, Gagan.
Yeah, thank you, Mommy. Plenty of research and homework for all of us. So, yeah, let's benefit from that. And we shall then meet next week. That is Saturday, 21st September 2024. Same time. That's 8 a.m. Central Time in the US, 6:30 p.m. India time. Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.